you can do that live. Okay, so welcome to everyone again. I think that we are ready to begin with our first lecture from the Bach Flower Remedies and Astrology course. It's so nice to meet you, and I'm sure that you will learn many valuable things which hopefully will help you actually to improve your own life and also to help other people as well. So first of all, let me present myself. If you don't know me yet, I'm Marina. I'm a professional astrologer, but I also use the Bach Flower Remedies in my practice to help other people. And I also work as a life coach. This training will be mostly about the Bach Flower Remedies, but we're also going to talk about some astrology. So where actually those two methods combine and how we can use both of them. So my experience is first of all related to my personal health. That's how I started, exploring different methods which can help someone to heal or to improve. Personally, I have struggled with different health issues from my childhood. I have many surgeries. I used to have a panic disorder, I had an eating disorder, and lots of other issues. And today I'm really happy to say that I am healthy and I am well. And like every other human being, at certain point I have certain issues, but I have some tools which can help me. And one of the main tools is actually the Bach Flower method, the Bach Flower Remedies, which we are going to talk about today. So first of all, I started with my own experience, and of course later I started applying this method for other people, so using it for family and after that for clients. So about our course, first of all, a little bit of more concrete information. It will be an 8-week online course. The first lecture will be published online. So if anyone is watching this lecture and haven't signed up yet, you can do that from the link below the video. The lectures will be live each Sunday at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. You will receive a link for the lecture the day before, and on Monday everyone will receive the recording and the presentation from the previous lecture. If someone wants to sign up for the training later or after the course has ended, of course you will receive the recorded lectures. This is also an option. And one more thing which is also very important. This course cannot substitute the consultation with your personal doctor and should not be considered as a personal medical advice. Sometimes, people can neglect certain issues or may think that, they can handle with everything on their own. This training can help you to support yourself, but you should always consult with a medical doctor, especially if you have a serious issue. So just to be clear. Now, what are we going to cover during this training? Lecture 1, basically this lecture, will include a general introduction, brief history of the method and the main principles, basically how we use the method or basically the Bach flowers, how we prepare the different combinations or the mixture. I will show you exactly how you can do that today so that you are prepared, and after today you will be able to prepare some of those mixtures for yourself. So that's number 1. Also, we are going to talk about, yes, the main principles of the method and the 4 elements and basically how they connect or which can be the typical issues for certain temper, psychological type. And you can see here the other lectures. So we are going to talk about the 12 healers during the next lecture, part 1. We won't be able to cover all of them, but part 1 of the 12 healers. During the third lecture, 12 healers, part 2, plus the 7 helpers. These are basically concrete essences, which we are going to discuss during the next 2 lectures. And then we are going to talk about the different groups. So the Bach Flower Remedies can be divided or separated in different groups. And the first group which we are going to discuss is about fears, or remedies for those who suffer from fears. We are going to talk about general description and implementation, and also some astrology indications. We are also going to talk about the remedies for those who suffer uncertainty. So two groups of remedies during lecture number 4. Lecture number 5, those who suffer remedies for those with insufficient interest in outer circumstances, and also remedies for loneliness. These are 2 other groups of remedies. Lecture number 6 is for remedies for oversensitivity to influences and ideas, and also the other group, remedies for despondency or despair. Lecture number 7 is remedies for those who overcare for other people. And the last lecture is about special combinations, application for children, pregnant women, animals, and plants, because the remedies can be used in many, many cases. So that's a brief description of what each lecture will include. Probably the lecture will last around 90 minutes. We can make a 5-minute break around the half. And of course, you can ask questions at the end, or sometimes even during the presentation if there is something unclear or you want to add something. Or of course, feel free to share your personal experiences as well. So first of all, who is Dr. Edward Bach? Actually, different people pronounce it in different ways. It can be called Bach, but I'm used to saying it Dr. Edward Bach. So here is he. You can see his face. And he was born on the 24th of September 1886 in UK, near Birmingham. He was a medical doctor. He got diploma in medicine, and also he has suffered himself from serious health issues. And at certain point, even the doctors, other doctors had told him that he is about to die, that he has almost no time left. So he has been really, really sick. And that's what has pushed him actually to change different directions and to search for natural remedies which can heal him and eventually can help other people. He has worked also in bacteriology. He has experience in homeopathy, and he has created the Bach nosodes. These are similar to the vaccinations, but they're very specific. They're mostly used by in the homeopathy. And this is just, these are stages in his career. Then during 1929, he finds the first remedies from the set. The first one is the impatience remedy, and then mimulus and clematis. These are the first 3 remedies which have been found during 1929. Then during the years until 1935, he finds all of the 38 remedies. So nowadays we work with those 38 remedies. This is like a set of remedies. I will talk about the preparation, but just to show you how they look like. These are mine. So they are 38, plus I have 2, which are the rescue remedy combination. We are going to talk about it as well. Just let me put it here, okay. So how many years? For 6 years, he finds the 38 remedies. And this is like a whole system. And you're on the 27th of November 1936, he dies in his sleep, actually quite young. At the age of 50, he dies. Now, some people ask the question, can we add other remedies, or why they are exactly 38? First of all, the truth is that this set is absolutely enough. So you can use it, and it's a whole system. So you don't need to add anything in addition to that. You may also find that there are other flower essences. There are Australian essences or bush flower essences, and those are different things. The traditional or the classical Bach flower kit is 38 essences. And you may experiment, you may add other remedies as well, or other essences. Personally, I have used only this set, and I know that it works great. I have colleagues who I know that use also the Australian and the bush flowers, and they combine them. And they also say that they have great results. So here it's up to you what you will decide to do. I personally work only with this set, and I know that it's enough. Here we can also see the horoscope of Dr. Bach. We don't know his time of birth, so this is mostly actually a sun chart, a chart calculated for the sunrise on the very day that Dr. Bach was born, the 29th of September. For those who are interested in astrology, his sun is in Libra in conjunction with Uranus and also Jupiter. So Dr. Bach is doing something revolutionary. He is a creator. He is very, very different than other people. And pay attention how Neptune and Pluto are also making trines with his sun, and even with Mercury and Uranus. Neptune is the planet which can heal certain things or people, which is related also to homeopathy or similar methods. The Bach Flower Remedies are also a Neptune method. And Pluto is the planet which, first of all, can help someone to transform things, and also the energy healing, energy therapies are ruled by Pluto. So if you want to explore more Dr. Bach's horoscope, you can find it here, and you can make some conclusions on your own as well. But in my opinion, the most impressive is the conjunction with Uranus, the Sun and Uranus, basically, and also Pluto and Neptune, which are trining this stellium here. Okay, so about the Bach Flower Remedies. As I already said, they are 38 different remedies or essences or flowers. So whenever I use one of those expressions, I mean the same thing. Bach Flower Remedies, Bach Flower Essences, or Bach Flowers. It all applies for the whole system. And 12 of those essences are called the 12 healers. The 12 healers have been found first, actually, by Dr. Bach, as we said, first in Patience, Mimulus, and Clematis. We are going to talk about all of them, or actually part of them, during the next lecture. And what's even more interesting is that they correspond to the 12 zodiac signs. Here I need to clarify that Dr. Bach has been aware of astrology. He has had some experience in astrology, but he didn't want to, to make it mandatory for people to understand astrology in order to use the essences or the remedies. So this system has been actually improved or more classified after Dr. Bach by some of his students. So the 12 healers are related to the 12 signs. There is another group of remedies which are called the 7 helpers. Those 7 helpers are related to the 7 planets from the septenary. To remind you which are those planets: the Sun, the Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. These are the planets from the septenary. And each of those planets is connected to certain essence or certain remedy. And we have also another 19 complementary essences, which doesn't mean that, by the way, those 19 are less important. We cannot say that, you can skip them or you can neglect them. Probably the 12 healers are the most commonly used, but all of them have certain place or importance, and we need all of them. So what do those remedies actually include? They are extracted by flowers, bushes, and trees, so only natural sources. And we have one exception, which is the rock water. This is one remedy, and that's how it's called. It's rock water. The others are from flowers, bushes, and trees. So I won't talk about how to extract them on your own. It's possible, and people do that, but I don't recommend you to start with that. I think that you need some experience with using the remedies which are pre-prepared. These are the natural extracts. And at a certain point, if you want to, you can start. But first of all, I don't think that all of those trees and flowers can be found everywhere on the earth. I mean that, some of them are more specific. And there are different methods, mainly 2 methods for this extraction: the sun method and the boiling method. But again, I repeat that this has been done for you. If you buy the full set, the full kit of the remedies, you have those extracts. They include some alcohol. I think it's brandy actually, in order to keep them, long lasting. But you are buying those extracts. That's what I would recommend you. Now here, which are the remedies which you can use? This is up to you. Personally, I work with the set of healing herbs. That's how they are called. I can type it in the chat actually. Healing herbs. That's the company which produces the set which I'm using. But you can decide to use another set. I don't sell those remedies. I'm not an affiliate. I'm not offering you some links that you should purchase from. So I'm just sharing my experience. I use the healing herbs remedies. I have used others in the past, which have been prepared actually by a Bulgarian therapist. He, prepared the remedies on his own. And to tell you the truth, those remedies worked as well. So I cannot say that, if they're cheaper, they won't work. But personally, for now, I prefer the healing herbs remedies. Okay, so we said they are extracted by flowers, and after you have this kit, you make personalized combinations. The general rule is that you can put up to 6 of those remedies, of the single remedies, in one combination. Now, in some places, in some sources, you may find that you can add actually 7. And probably that's okay as well. I try to avoid it because 7 is a number which is ruled by Saturn. And we know that Saturn is not a planet which, you know, can make things go away fast, or generally, you know, it's the planet of limitations and sometimes challenges. So this is the main reason why I mix up to 6 remedies in one combination. And as you can see here, they are personalized. So the main idea is that having those 38 remedies, the full set, you should pick up to 6. Sometimes they can be a couple of them. Sometimes you may even decide to take only 1. But up to 6, that's the highest number which I work with. And they are personalized. So it means that they are right for the person for this very moment. And if you are good in maths, I'm not so good at it, but I asked someone and he calculated the possible combinations. If you have 38 essences and you want to make different variations of them using 2 or 3, 4, 5, or 6 of them, you literally can have millions of possible combinations. So I cannot present the mathematical calculation, but that's true. Literally millions of possible combinations. So the main idea is that we need to find what's the best for this person for this moment. And here maybe it's also important to say that even if you don't choose the best combination, there are no side effects. So you won't hurt the person, or, you know, there won't be any side effects, even if the combination is not the best. So keep that in mind and don't overthink it, because sometimes, especially if you are a very precise person, very accurate, or you yourself have certain fears, then you may try to really, you know, try to be extremely precise. So don't worry. Don't worry. You cannot make a huge mistake. The biggest mistake is that it may not help the person, but it won't harm him. There won't be, you know, something bad which can happen to this person. So just to clarify, we have a question here. Can you repeat the 7 planets from the September, please? Yes, of course, Linda. The 7 planets are the Sun, the Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. We are going to talk about it during the 3rd lecture. So you will have them written in the presentation with the concrete essence connected to each of the planets. So don't worry, you will have all of that information. Okay, and yeah, something, no, not September, Debbie. The planets from the September, that's how they are called, the 7 planets, the visible planets in astrology. September, yes. I think, yes, it's written correctly here in the presentation. September, the 7 visible planets. Okay, and what's also interesting is that we have a synergetic impact. So what does it mean? It means that if you have a positive impact from essence number 1 and you have another positive impact from essence number 2, and you know they are both important for the person, they are relevant for his condition, if you combine them, you have a multiplied positive impact. So it's something like that. 1 plus 1 doesn't equal 2, it can equal 4 or 5. So that's what this synergetic impact means. If we find the right combination for the person, the general positive impact is multiplied. That's very important, and that's another reason why we are mixing those remedies, why we don't take them one by one. Okay, so yeah, Debbie shares that she hasn't heard of that. Yes, that's how they are called, the septenar, the 7 planets which are visible without the outer planets. Okay, let me see, how are we moving with the time? I think we are okay. Okay, so let's talk about the main principles of this method. All right. First of all, the Bach Flower Remedies can heal different emotional and psychological issues. And that's where we start from. So you can, of course, heal other conditions, even physical issues, but it all starts with what's going on inside of the person, with his emotions and his mind. So the flowers, the Bach flowers, can help you to overcome different emotional and mental and psychological issues. And as we are going to move through the description of each of the remedies, which we are going to start with during the next lecture, we are going to describe which are the main psychological characteristics of each essence. So that's very, very important. And in what type of situations usually the essence can be used. The other main principle, which doesn't apply only for the Bach Flower Remedies, but I think that generally the holistic medicine uses this method, is that we are healing the person, not the symptoms. This is a general rule which also applies in homeopathy. And you know, usually the modern, especially the Western medicine, tries to heal the symptoms. So you have a headache, take this medicine, or you have stomach acids, take this medicine. And you know, it separates the person, the body, on different parts. And we know that in the traditional medicine, especially the Chinese medicine or the alternative medicine or the integral medicine, the person or the body is connected. Each part of the body is connected to the other parts. And they are also connected to, especially if you are open to the understanding about the other body, so not only the physical, but also the astral body, the mental body, and the others, they are all connected. And the main principle is that the reasons behind or beneath the symptoms and the illnesses, here we mean the physical illnesses, are emotional, mental, due to stress, or related to our karma. So what do I mean here? Emotional issues or emotional reasons for certain illnesses can be, for example, because of anger, or because of fears, or even loneliness, or if you're, for example, worried for another person. Actually, when you're worried for another person, maybe it's more a mental reason. But the emotional are all kinds of challenging emotions which we cannot process or we cannot channel and express, you know, in a healthy way. If you suppress the emotion, if you cannot handle it, at certain point, it will create certain physical issue. The mental issues, the mental reasons are, for example, if you are focused on certain negative idea, for example, lack of confidence, or for example, you may think that other people will hurt you, or that the outer world is not safe. Of course, there are countless variations here, but the main issues are coming either from the heart, so the emotions, or from the mind, negative or unhealthy ideas that we may have. Another reason which can also create illnesses or certain symptoms is the stress. And by stress, we mean, for example, a traumatic experience. It can come from the childhood, sometimes even during the birth of the person, there might have been certain stress. Or, for example, certain accident. Sometimes this can be a traumatic relationship, or this can be a serious loss. All of those past experiences may also create at certain point issues in the physical body. And the last reason, which probably may look strange to some people, but is also maybe the most interesting, is karma. And by karma, first of all, we mean personal karma. And those are things which we have done in the past, in our past incarnations, if you're open to this theory. And that's okay, we have to accept that. Especially in the cases when you have a child born with certain disease. We cannot say that, you know, this child has had certain stress or negative emotions. You know, it's just not the case. In those cases, this can be personal karma, something that the person has done or suffered. It doesn't mean that the person has been bad or has done something wrong, but certain stress which has been experienced in past incarnations sometimes may also bring physical illness. The other reasons which are also part of the karma are more related to the previous generations. So it's considered that up to 4 generations before us can affect our life, our health, and everything. So your parents, their parents, and 2 generations before that, up to 4 generations before you can affect you. Here I can give you a very interesting example. There was a boy, I think, a small child with a severe allergy to fish, eating fish. Eating fish has caused this child very, very dramatic seizures and shocks, and you know, they have almost lost the child. So that's, you know, how severe the allergy has been. Only to fish, nothing else. Meat, you know, gluten or milk or other fruit allergies, nothing, only the fish, which is kind of strange. Usually, you know, people have allergies to a couple of things. And what has been found is that the grandparent of this boy has cheated a lot to his wife. And every time that he went out, you know, on these dates or affairs or whatever he has done, he told that he is going to fish. You know, that was his explanation to his wife. I'm going fishing. And his grandson has a severe allergy to fish. So you may decide whether you want to accept this theory or not. I'm just sharing my understanding and my experience. You may decide not to, you know, respect this, or I don't know, different opinions. But from my experience, what I have read, what I have learned, the previous generations also have certain impact on our life and our health. Okay, and there are actually other theories or knowledge or even sciences which are included here. The integral medicine, the psychobiology. The psychobiology also analyzes the causes, the psychological, mental causes for the physical symptoms and illnesses. This is very, very important, and I personally find it extremely interesting. So yes, here you can see also, in order to heal the physical symptom, we need to find and solve the problem which has caused the issue. The psychobiology or the integral medicine actually believes that if you can find out the issue, you are able to solve it. So basically, the awareness, or by being conscious about the issue, you can solve it. For example, here also the German medicine also works with this theory. But I also believe that it's very important to be conscious about your issues, the physical issues. And the more you observe your body, your reactions, the more you also work with your intuition, the more skillful you will be to help yourself, other people, and even to handle with certain issues, physical issues. A very simple example from my experience. I cannot remember the exact situation, but I had an argument. I think it was with my partner. And we were discussing something. And I don't remember exactly what the issue was, but I remember that I wanted to say something, but I didn't do it. And it was, on the top of my tongue, but I didn't say it. And a couple of days after that, or even the very next day, I don't remember, I started to feel like, I have something in my throat, like I cannot swallow right, or, here, like something is pulling me. And at this very moment, I realized that there is a connection, a very, very, direct connection. You want to say something, this is the fifth chakra, the throat chakra. You want to say something, but you don't say it. You're suppressing it. And then you feel certain pain, or you can feel like, you're suffocating. That's actually a very typical condition for women, especially for women, which in some cases might be also considered as a hysteric seizure sometimes. So observe what's going on in your body and in your mind, and how the emotions and the experiences are affecting your body. And the truth is that after I realized what the main issue was, that, I wanted to say something, but I didn't do it, I forced myself to say it. And I really did it in a calm way. I honestly don't remember what was all about it, but I went and I said it. I shared it with my partner. Obviously, it was something unpleasant. And after that, I really solved my issue. So that's very important. In those cases, of course, the Bach Flower Remedies can help you as well. But if you can find the reason and you find a way to solve it, the situation, or to channel this energy, you have a great chance also to heal many, many physical symptoms. Okay, another principle of the method is that it can be combined with any other traditional or untraditional therapy. Literally everything. Now, here with the homeopathy, the case is more specific, because if you are using classical homeopathy, the homeopathic specialist won't allow you to use other methods. Or they may have certain issues with the remedies, but the remedies itself, they work without any problems with any other therapy, traditional or untraditional. So that's also very important. Okay, so what's the connection between the Bach flowers and astrology? First of all, we need to clarify that you don't necessarily need to have an experience in astrology in order to use the Bach flowers. As I said, Dr. Bach himself didn't want to, you know, make this connection mandatory. So this is not a necessity. And even this training, you know, won't make it mandatory for you. I mean that you can benefit and you can work with the essences without the astrology part. However, if you want to combine the two knowledges, I think that you can really benefit. First of all, because as we said, there is a connection between the signs, the planets, and on the other hand, certain essences. And the personal horoscope can help you to understand the person better, his temper, his psychological type. And you can use the horoscope as additional guidance or for your own reference. Also, the Bach flowers can help you to handle easier with challenging transits or progressions. We are going to discuss that as well. Again, it's not a necessity. So if you don't have this experience in astrology, that's okay. You can do the work through conversation, through asking, you know, that's okay as well. Also, I need to clarify here that you can never make a, you know, prescription or define the combination only by the horoscope. You always need the connection, the verbal connection. I mean, you need to know what the person needs to say. So that's very important as well. And also, there are no strict rules. So, for example, you may see that the person, let's say, has his sun in Libra, or, you know, his ascendant in Sagittarius, or his moon in Virgo. And in some cases, you may really consider the remedies which are connected to each of those remedies, but it's not a general rule. So that's also important. Okay, let me see, how are we moving with the time? Okay, so we are moving forward. Now I want to share briefly how the different energies or tempers affect the person. And we are going to discuss that more in details when we describe each of the essences. But that's like a general foundation. So generally, we have 4 energies, 4 tempers: fire, air, earth, and water. And each of those energies are in some way presented in ourselves, in each person. Of course, there is usually 1 or 2 which are dominant, and the other 2 are not so strong. And depending on which is the dominant energy in you, you may respond in a different way, or you might be more predisposed to certain health issues, or, you know, how the diseases are gonna happen in some way. So that's just a general understanding again. The first one is the fire energy. The fire energy is related to the choleric temper. This is the classification by Carl Jung. Choleric temper. These are people who are always in a hurry. They may tend to be more angry. They are very impatient usually. They may tend to, you know, want to dominate other people, to lead them, to control them. And the typical cases, the typical issues are, first of all, everything which produces heat and redness. If you have issues, for example, on the skin or within the body, something related to higher temperature, or which is a warm condition, that it means that there is a fire energy which is not channeled correctly. So inflammations, high blood pressure. High blood pressure is also very typical for the fire energy. High blood pressure may happen or may appear in other cases as well, not only with the fire energy, but it's very typical. Heart issues are also usually typical for, for challenging fire energy, which is not processed correctly. And typically for those people, the symptoms come and go really fast. I mean that, suddenly they have a high blood pressure, or suddenly their temperature is extremely high. But typically those people tend to heal fast as well. So, it's very explosive, very dramatic usually. Let me see. Okay, Linda asks, can you please repeat the characteristics? Okay, Linda, first of all, you can always watch the recording after that for your own reference. The fire energy or fire people, they are very impatient. They tend to try to control other people. What did I say also? They take decisions very fast. And usually also they want to dominate. Now, which are the main astrology indications for that? First of all, if you or the person has many planets in fire signs. Just to remind you that the fire signs are Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. So don't worry if you don't know all of that. We are gonna discuss that in details when we talk about the 12 healers. So next time, during the next 2 lectures, we are gonna cover each of the elements and the signs and the remedies. So that's just, the general perspective. So if the person has many planets in fire signs, then he is more predisposed to those fire issues, or also people with a very strong Sun, Mars, or Jupiter. These are the main fire planets. Or, problematic aspects from the fire planet sometimes may also bring the fire issues. That's just, the general, the foundational perspective. The other element, the earth element, the earth energy is very different. This is the melancholic temper. Now here, the picture is much different. First of all, which are the typical issues? Fears. People with lots of earth energy, usually they have fears. They are more predisposed to depression. They may have issues with their bones, the spines, or their joints. These are the most common issues. Usually, the symptoms tend to be more chronic. So, here the illness or the symptoms are not coming so dramatically fast, but also it takes more time to, to heal them. So, of course, we may have certain variations, but that's the general picture. And the astrology part here, if the person has many planets in earth signs, the earth signs are Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn, then he is more predisposed to reacting in this way. Also Saturn. Saturn is the typical earth planet, which can also cause those issues. So for example, if Saturn is extremely strong, or Saturn has some challenging aspects with the sun or the moon or other planets, this may also cause those type of, earth issues. The next element is the air energy. According to Jung, this is the sanguine temper. Usually that's considered to be the easiest temper, or the most positive, the most optimistic also temper. Here, actually, just let me see. So yeah, here, the most typical issues are related to the nervous system. And sometimes those can be more generalized conditions. Sometimes they can be, you know, quite serious. In other cases, not so much. But the nervous system is very, very sensitive in those cases. And something typical also for the air energy or people with an air temper is that their symptoms can shift very fast. For example, at certain point they may have issues, very typically, for example, they may have certain pain or you know, issues with their hands, and they might get healed, or this may improve, then something else appears, or the pain moves to another part in the body. If you have shifting symptoms from one part of the body to the other part, or some kind of variations, and you know, things are moving, things are not concrete or stable, usually it means that there is an air energy problem. Again, we are going to talk about each of those air signs, the typical conditions, and the remedies which are connected, but that's just, you know, the foundational perspective. And the astrology here, many planets in air signs, or strong Mercury and Uranus. Typically, people with a very strong Uranus, especially with the challenging aspects, they may also have issues with the nervous system. For example, I have challenging aspects between Uranus and my Moon and Mars, and I definitely have those type of, you know, the nervous system is very sensitive, and you know, sometimes the person can be more impatient or may react also with anxiety. The anxiety can be typical for the air energy as well. Just to remind you that the air signs are Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. Okay, and the last element, the water energy. This is the phlegmatic temper according to Carl Jung. Those people are very sensitive. Typical issues: fears, anxiety, storage of fluids. These are literally, you know, physical conditions. When something is stored within the body, usually there is a water energy problem. Sometimes the earth, by the way, can also bring similar things, but especially if we talk about fluids, then this is the water energy. The psychological and even psychiatric illnesses are more typical for the water energy as well. Of course, it doesn't mean that, for example, an air type person cannot have a psychiatric issue. It happens, but typically the water people are more predisposed. Here also I have forgotten to add the addictions. Addictions are really typical or common for the water people. Not for everyone, of course, but for some people, because there is a tendency, you know, and desire to escape the reality because of oversensitivity or challenges with, you know, finding your own spot, different variations, but addictions are typical for the water energy. And the astrology here, of course, many planets in the water signs, which are Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. Or if someone has a very strong moon or Neptune, those people are more predisposed to those issues. Okay, we are moving forward. The preparation. So the preparation, how do we make the mixtures? I decided to add this information in the first lecture because probably there will be people who, you know, want to start using the method immediately. So I want you to know how you can do that. First of all, what do you need? You need 30 milliliter empty bottles. usually they are dark. Actually, it's recommended to be, to be dark. This is not empty, but it doesn't matter. So usually that's how they look. Or you may find other, it's not mandatory. You can, find your own bottle. So you need to use it. You can use it only once, by the way. You cannot clean it or wash it and reuse it. You use it only once. But they are not expensive. So 30 milliliter empty bottles. If possible, it's recommended if they have a dropper. So let me show you. That's how this dropper looks like. There are other types which don't have this dropper. If you decide, you may try them. I have used them. It's not so easy. This is the best case. You also need spring water. Spring water can be found in the supermarket. So literally, that's one which I have used, spring water from the supermarket. Or, of course, it depends where you live, but if there is a source of water nearby, which, some of them are considered to be healing, the mineral water is more specific. So usually I don't recommend it because the mineral water itself has, certain ingredients. Here, by the way, I have also forgotten to add that you shouldn't use distillated water, because it's considered that, this water is dead. So spring water is the best case. And of course, you need the Bach Flower Remedies. As I already showed you, here is how the whole kit looks like. You may get it with or without this box. It's very, convenient if you have the box, but it's not necessary. If you decide, you may buy the essences separately. For example, if you don't want to make the investment or you want to try some of them, you can buy them one by one. I think it will be more expensive, but that's also an option. And also brandy, but this is optional. Brandy or another alcohol, sometimes whiskey, but I personally don't use it. I'm just showing you because that's the, the traditional recipe. And how do we proceed then? So just let me, where did I put it? Okay. You take the empty bottle. You may use one funnel like this. I have bought this from a supermarket or, where there are home stuff, kitchen stuff. This is usually for cooking. A funnel, which I use to, put the water in. So, using this, I put the clean water inside of the bottle. Now, if you want to do this according to the traditional recipe, you should put approximately 20 milliliter water and 10 milliliter brandy. That's the traditional recipe. 2/3 water, 1/3 some kind of alcohol. Now, what's the reason here to put the brandy? The main idea is that the mixture can last longer. Personally, I don't like to add the brandy, and I haven't had any issues so far. I have used those mixtures for up to 1 month, up to 30 days, and they were okay. So that's why I'm saying that this is an optional. The brandy is optional. Okay, we have a question. Can I use spring water directly from the sink? Is it clean enough? It is clean enough for drinking. Now, the traditional recipe is with spring water. Now, personally, whenever I have needed, to make a mixture fast, or there is another method of use, yes. The truth is that even if you put water from the sink, I think that it will work great. But really the best way is to use the spring water. You just need to go to the supermarket. It's really cheap. So another question, could I use oil instead of water or alcohol? I wouldn't recommend it, because the oil itself will have some, you know, other characteristics. So I wouldn't recommend you. If you don't want brandy, you can add whiskey or something else which includes alcohol. But personally, I put only water, you know, just clean water, 30 milliliter or a little bit less, you know, clean water, and that's it. So you put the spring water or another water in the bottle, and then you add the brandy if you want to, and then you add only 2 drops of the original remedy, of the original essence. Only 2, that's all you need. If you put more than 2 drops, sometimes it happens, there is no problem at all. Even if you put 4, 5, there won't be any side effect, so don't worry. Depending on the, you know, the extract, sometimes, you know, you may put unintentionally more than 2, and that's okay, don't worry. But the, you know, the traditional recipe is 2 drops. After that, you just need to mix it a little bit. So it's very simple. You can do that literally in, I think, less than a minute. But what I would recommend you is to turn this into a ritual. Again, it doesn't need to take really long. But what I do usually is that, first of all, when I put the 2 drops of the remedy, I imagine or I visualize what I want to heal with this remedy. For example, I want this person to stop being afraid of dying, for example, or he's afraid of driving a car. So very quickly I imagine what I want to happen by adding this remedy. You may also, you know, define the order of the remedies. No strict rules again, but for example, you may put the most important remedies first. Also an option. The other thing is that after you have prepared it, so you have the water, the optional brandy, you have the 2 drops of each of the remedies. One thing which I use, or which I do, is that I am doing those gestures to mix the remedy. So I don't do it by, you know, mixing it in this way, but if you know the sign or the symbol of eternity, it's like 8, but, you know, in the other side, turned around. So 8. And I'm doing this with the remedy. So it looks like that. And I do this 21 times. That's my own ritual. If you like it, you can use it. If not, that's okay. You can, you know, have your own ritual. So 21 times of this. If you do more, no worries. And then gently on the palm, you do that 6 or 7 times. That's my own ritual. Again, as I said, the necessary requirements are that you need an empty bottle, you need water, and you need 2 drops of each original essence. If you want to, you can turn this into a ritual. As you can see, by using only 2 drops of each remedy, those set or the kit are, you know, you can use it for literally for years, literally. So the investment at the beginning might be more significant, but you can use it for, you know, very, very long time. Do you have any suggestions where to buy the 30 milliliter bottles? I'm not really sure, depending on your location. You may check, first of all, online. I'm pretty sure that you can find online, you know, empty bottles with a dropper, and there are different sizes of them. Sometimes even if you cannot find the 30 milliliter, you can choose 20. But again, add 2 drops. 30 milliliter is the best case. And also, now what did I want to say? I forgot it. Okay, the mixtures. Okay, I will remember. Another question, can I use the moon phases to benefit the mixture, new or full moon? You can experiment with that. Personally, I think that the mixture works great no matter what the moon phase has been. But again, you can experiment. Generally, after the full moon until the new moon, during those 2 days, 2 weeks, sorry, the energy works more internally. So for example, for paying attention to certain things in your body, in your mind, you know, for more introverted processes or activities, this might be better. But again, here there are no rules. So you may experiment, and you may also share your experience with us if you want to. So that's how you prepare the mixtures and how I prepare them. Let's see. Now, the application. How? So after you have this, the prepared combination, you may also put, by the way, a little notes, or how you call them, I don't know. Those things that they type the prices of the product on, you know, I don't know. Those that they have a glue, and you can add that and label this if you want, for example. I'm doing that for the clients, but not always. So this is an extra. So after you have this bottle, the 30 milliliter bottle, the standard way of application is 4 drops of this in the mouth. So what does it mean in the mouth? You may put it under the tongue, but not necessarily. You may put it even on the teeth. It doesn't really matter. Just, you know, apply it in the mouth. If you apply more than 4 drops, that's perfectly okay. So don't be afraid, don't worry. Sometimes it has happened that children has found the whole bottle, and children like the flowers a lot, by the way, and they have drank the whole combination and there were no side effects. So if you take more than 4 drops, you shouldn't be worried, and you should do that 4 times a day. Sometimes if you forget, that's also okay. So don't be afraid to, you know, to make a mistake. That's okay. It's recommended that you wait 10 or 15 minutes before and after eating, drinking, or smoking a cigarette. And also, if you're taking other medicines, it doesn't matter what type, it's recommended to wait around an hour before and after. Now, in a critical situation, what does it mean, a critical situation? For example, something stressful happens. You are afraid of something, or you are stressed about something, or sometimes, you know, you have a panic attack. For panic attacks, the remedies are great, by the way. How you can use them? You can use 2 drops on 5 or 10 minutes. And you may do that as long as you need to, until you have a relief. So if you have to, you can use them 5 or even 10 times in a row with 5-10 minute, you know, frame. Again, no side effects, so you shouldn't be worried. Another method also, which I haven't written here, which can also be used in critical situations, or, you know, when something happens and you want a faster impact. If you want a faster, but when I say faster, it's also more superficial. So for things which has just happened, or you are stressed about in the very moment, what you can do is take a glass or even such, bottle, empty bottle, it doesn't matter. So you take the glass and you put water there. In those cases, you can use water from the sink, because usually you don't have time, to find the spring water. That's okay. You can use water from the sink. And in the glass, you can put directly from the original essences. So not from the mixture, but from the original essence, you can put 2 or sometimes even more, sometimes even 5 or 10 drops of the remedies. For example, in my case, which I explained, when I know specifically that, my throat issue, that I'm anxious and worried because I didn't say this, and it has recently happened, and it's a superficial problem. It's not a deep-rooted problem from the past. It's something which has just happened. In those cases, you may use the method, the glass water method, the glass method. So in the glass or a small bottle, you can put between 5 and 10 drops of the original essence. Again, you can mix a couple of them if necessary. And you may drink the glass or the bottle during the whole day, or even, for an hour, as long as you need to. As you can see, there are no strict rules here as well. So use your intuition. Sometimes you can prepare, this bottle, and you may drink half of it and you may realize that you are already calm, you are, the stress is gone, or the situation is solved, and you don't feel the need to drink the whole bottle. That's okay as well. Okay, another thing which I also want to mention about the mixtures. Usually it's recommended to keep them away from direct sunlight. For example, in the car, don't put them, on the front window where, there is lots of heat and light. And try to keep them safe from extreme temperature, extremely high temperature. Okay, one more thing about the brandy option also. If you are preparing a mixture for a kid, and especially for a baby, don't add the brandy. You don't need to add the brandy. We are going to talk about application for children and babies during the last lecture, I think. So we'll discuss more about how, how you can do that, and which are also the typical essences for kids and children, for kids and babies. All right, and the remedies can be applied, the mixture, for as long as you need. Usually 130 milliliter bottle is enough for 3 or 4 weeks. If you take extra drops, usually it's 3, sometimes it can be even 2 weeks, but on average 3 weeks. After you take one mixture, you can immediately start with another one, or you may even repeat the same. So you don't need to make, some kind of breaks or something like that. There are no side effects, so you shouldn't be worried. And there is no addiction as well. All right, let me see. Yeah, that was the last part. Let me see. Some people put the drops in water. Sabine, do you mean the glass method? Probably that's what you mean. Because yes, this can also be used. Another way of application also can be to put the essences directly on the skin. For example, if you have a headache or certain skin issue, you may also apply the mixture directly. So experiment. Again, there are no mistakes. You need to you need to use your intuition also. Okay, I put them even on bruises. Yes, absolutely. One more thing also about the drops. I told you that we are using 2 drops in the mixture for the preparation. There is only one exception. If you're preparing a rescue remedy combination. The rescue remedy combination includes 5 of the remedies which are already in the kit. You can buy them, 5 of them. There were cherry plum, mimulus, white chestnut, star of Bethlehem, and clematis, and impatiens. Okay, are there? Yes, there are 5. Cherry plum, clematis, impatiens, rock rose, star of Bethlehem. Okay, so no white chestnut, my mistake. This is the original rescue remedy that Dr. Bach has created. And if you want to take this, in some cases, it's, especially for stressful situations, it's very, very good. But from this, you should add 4 drops, not 2, for the preparation of the mixture. So that's an exception. All right. Should we only use 1 mixture per time, or can we do more in parallel? Usually, I recommend to use only 1 mixture. An exception can be, for example, if the person has some kind of, for example, like panic attacks or certain extreme stress which appears. In those cases, I make 1 general combination which the person uses on a daily basis, and I make another mixture of the rescue remedy. And I tell the person, if everything is okay, take your regular combination 4 times a day. If you experience severe stress or fear or, something else, for example, people sometimes have headaches or other issues, in those cases, use the rescue remedy. But usually I think that you should use only 1 mixture. And another question which is interesting also, how long does it take to feel an improvement? Here I don't have only one answer which applies to everyone. It depends. Sometimes it has, even from the first application, you may feel something, literally from the first. Sometimes it may take a couple of days. But usually up to 10 days or 2 weeks, you should feel something. In some cases, especially for people with lots of earth energy, it may take longer. And you shouldn't get discouraged. Sometimes it may happen that the first combination is not the right one, and the person may not even have, any influence or impact. You shouldn't get discouraged. Try with another one. So sometimes it may take time. Another general rule is that the older the issue is, the longer time it takes to heal it. But I think that's quite logical. For example, if you have had fears for years, for example, during many years you have been afraid of something, or you have suffered from lack of confidence for years, it may take more time to heal that. You may need to take a couple of combinations, even for months. If the issue is very recent, like with my example, this problem that I didn't express verbally, and I felt, the problem in my throat. This was a very recent issue. So in those cases, even during 1 day after taking a mixture, there will be an improvement. So it depends, but it's very logical that the longer the older the issue is, the more time we need to heal that. And as I said, even if you don't see an immediate improvement, you shouldn't get discouraged. And we should accept that sometimes we cannot define the best combination from the first time. It happens. Let me see. How long should we wait after brushing teeth? To be honest with you, I take them immediately, even after brushing teeth, or I just wait for a couple of minutes. The truth is that if you really need the remedies, for example, something stressful happens, even if you have eaten 2 minutes ago, it's okay. So it will work. The best case is if you can wait, but if something stressful happens, that's okay. You can take it immediately. With the brushing teeth also, if you can wait 5-10 minutes, it would be great. If not, the remedies will work as well, especially if you need them, if you really need the combination. Debbie shares, I gave my mom the rescue remedy for 9 days after her cancer operation. I'm sure it helped. She's doing really well now. Absolutely. I'm sure that cancer is a very serious health issue and condition. Nowadays, many people unfortunately suffer from it. And if the person has cancer, it means that the problem has been very serious and it has lasted for a long time. And in those cases, it takes, a lot of energy and efforts to heal the person. And he also needs to be very active, proactive. I can't guarantee you that you can heal cancer or other serious diseases. But I think that even in the worst cases, in the with the worst diagnosis, we may still help the person to improve his lifestyle or to have better days. The other thing is that I believe that every disease can be healed, every health issue can be healed, but it takes it needs, or it requires, a full transformation of the lifestyle, of the mental perspective, the belief system, and so many things. But I believe it's possible. The rescue remedy, yes, can be very helpful if the person, for example, is about to have a surgery, an operation, or after the operation, because the surgery brings a lot of stress for the cells, literally for each cell of the body. So the rescue remedy can be very good in those cases. Should we only use the rescue remedy for extreme cases? Can you use it daily? I don't think that it's only for extremely severe cases. I wouldn't recommend you to use it daily. If you use it daily, it means that you have certain issues, and probably you can pick up a more personalized combination. That's the main thing. That the rescue remedy is like a general recipe which helps a lot, but usually for a long-term healing, or for something which has lasted for very long, you can pick up a more personalized combination. And the rescue remedy, for example, is great like when you are about to have certain stress. For example, I really don't like flying with planes. I am afraid of that. I admit that. And the rescue remedy is very good in those cases as well. And you can start the application up to 1 week before the event, for example. But we are going to talk about concrete combinations, specific combinations in different cases. For example, for students or people with lots of mental stress who are learning for exams, or if you need more certainty, or some more typical cases. We are going to discuss that during the last lecture. Yeah, I think I helped with the trauma of the operation and pain afterwards. That's about the rescue remedy. Yes, yes, I believe you, Debbie. I'm sure that's true. Have you had success in treating insomnia with Bach flowers? Um, there are remedies which can help that, absolutely. But you need to find also what's behind that. The insomnia usually is due to an extremely sensitive nervous system. This is more, the mental side of the issues. Usually in astrology, problematic 8th house sometimes can bring insomnia. Uranus also. Linda, if you are asking about yourself, can you share a little bit about some astrology aspects? If you know them, of course, that's okay if you don't know. With the insomnia, usually the best remedy is white chestnut. We are going to talk about it. I'm not sure during which lecture. And usually, when there are lots of thoughts in the mind and the person cannot fall asleep, or there are two types. One of them is, they cannot fall asleep. The other people, they fall asleep, but at certain point they wake up during the night, and after that they cannot fall asleep anymore. Usually the white chestnut is a great remedy. Sabine shares, I recommended impatience to my mom's insomnia issues and it worked. She is a Virgo. Yeah, impatience also, if there are, here it depends also what's the temper of the person. If it's very dynamic, always focused on taking action, yeah, we can add also some of the fire remedies. Okay, Linda shares, I'm a Taurus, Sun, Moon in Leo, Mars in Leo, Venus, Cancer, Mercury in Gemini, Virgo rising. Yeah, the aspects here, we need to explore the aspects. Does Uranus have any challenging aspects with your planets? But generally, we can see here Virgo rising, Mercury in Gemini. It means that Mercury is strong. And if the nervous system is very active, sometimes, yeah, actually impatience in those cases can be good also because of this overactiveness, when you cannot relax. Another thing which can be also used is the cherry plum. Cherry plum is when you cannot let the control, when you are too concentrated and you cannot relax. Yeah, it's like I'm speeding. So yeah, we can talk about it. During the lectures, we are gonna have time for some examples. So if anyone would like to present a case or share personal issue, family issue, whatever, we may also talk about it. So Linda, if you want us to address your insomnia or maybe other stuff as well, we can do that. But of course, you have to prepare that we are gonna need some personal information. Okay, so yeah, Linda says it would be great. Okay. So do you have some other questions about the material which we have discussed so far? about the preparation or anything. Yeah, that's okay. Or anything else. Of course, we have lots of time. We have 7 more lectures to come. So, yeah. We are going to discuss each of the essences one by one. And we'll have time also for sharing some personal stuff as well. Okay, thank you for the feedback. Yeah, there will be, you know, I think that the course will be very valuable because also this topic is very close to my heart. So I really want to give you an information which is beyond the, you know, traditional understandings, and something which eventually will help you to improve your life and to help other people as well. So I truly believe in the method and generally in the idea of finding ways to improve our health with our personal efforts. Generally, I think that our health is our own responsibility. And I know that there will be people who won't accept it, especially, you know, when we see sick children, you know, they are so innocent and yet they are in such, some of them, of course, are in such a bad condition. I personally believe that this is the path that this soul has chosen. And there is a reason for everything. But the more conscious you are and ready, first of all, to see your own mistakes, to admit your mistakes, to the more open you are to make a change, to make an effort, and, you know, to do something to improve your life, I think that miracles can happen for those people. Okay, let me see the comments here. There is a question for a Facebook group. Yeah, I can think about it. Yeah, I think that we can create a Facebook group. Okay, Monica says she's ready to let go of the fears. Fears are, I think, the most common issue nowadays, really. And we are going to talk about it. I think during the fourth lecture will be about fears. So we are going to talk about them. But they are so common. So you are not alone, Monica. Personally, I have struggled, as I said. I had quite serious panic attacks, and it was a journey, but eventually I can really say that I'm panic-free and living a great life, honestly. So one advice I have also in addition is to never stop searching and trying. The Bach flowers are great. I truly and genuinely believe that they may help you. But even if they don't, probably in some case, you know, you may stumble on something or something may happen. Try other things as well, or combine things. Oh, Debbie says that I look so calm. I can say, yeah, I think that now I am calm. Yeah. I'm a little nervous with all of those, you know, gestures. I apologize for them, but I'm just, you know, more expressive person. But yeah. So I'm so happy that you have joined me during this training. There will be more people joining us. I know that some of you won't be able to watch live, so that's okay too. If you can find the time, it would be great to join us live. And at the end, I want to share with you this wonderful picture. Those are the real lakes in Bulgaria. There are 7, but here you can see only 4 of them on the picture. This is the most spiritual place in Bulgaria. So I just want to share this wonderful place with you, and just, you know, we can meditate on that for 1 or 2 minutes, or you can watch it later. That's a beautiful, really spiritual, magnetic, wonderful place. Absolutely wonderful. Okay, so yeah, I think that we are ready for today. You will get the recording from the lecture, the presentation on Monday, and on Saturday you will have the link for the next lecture. I'm really happy that everything worked great with Zoom. So everyone heard us, everyone joined us, hopefully. So yeah, we are gonna continue using Zoom. I like it because I can immediately see your comments. On YouTube, the biggest disadvantage is that it takes some time after I say something for you to see it. And if you type a comment, it takes time for me to see it. So sometimes, you know, the discussion is not so fast. So here we can connect immediately. And again, as I said, at a certain point, if someone wants to ask a live question, that's okay too. All right, so yeah, thank you all again. And yeah, I will see you next week. Have a wonderful week, everyone. Bye for now.